This week we are going to be visiting suffixes and move on from prefixes. So we're just going to do a little review with the last screen from the PowerPoint presentation of the prefixes, and then we're going to look at a list of normal suffixes, regular suffixes, and common ones that you might find. And then we're going to practice this week how to break apart a word. And I'm going to be showing you that on this PowerPoint. This week you will not have an assignment for suffixes. You will just be listening to this PowerPoint. So if you'll remember, it's really simple. Most prefixes and suffixes were added from the Latin and Greek languages, with some from Old English. Once you become more familiar with the prefixes and suffixes, you can figure out many words without the use of a dictionary if you already know the root. When you don't know the root, it's a good idea to look up the word in an etymological dictionary, and you'll find the word origin along with the definition. Here is a list of very common suffixes used in the English language. Now remember, there's many more of them. This is just a list of common ones. If you'll remember, across the top we have the title of each of the columns. We have the suffix in this column, then the meaning of the suffix, and then the examples. So you could read it like this. A bull would be the suffix. Whenever you see this as a suffix at the end of a word, remember suffixes go at the end of words, the meaning of a suffix, that is a bull, means is or can be done. And a couple of examples are affordable and sensible. Same for over here. You see ly a lot at the end of words. That's a very common suffix. The meaning of that suffix is it has a characteristic of something, like in quickly, or lovely, or fluently. So this is just a list of some common suffixes used in the English language. You will want to use this list next week when you are doing your suffix activity. Now, let's take a look closely at some words that we can take apart. Okay? These are words that have prefixes and suffixes in them, and I just wanted to show you some ways that you can use your knowledge of prefixes, base words, and suffixes to figure out the definitions of unknown words. Okay? This is the word misinterpreted. Misinterpreted means interpreted badly or incorrectly. So that's the definition of this word. Now, let's break this word apart a little bit. The prefix mis means wrongly or incorrectly, so we know anytime we see this prefix mis that that's what that's going to mean. We learned that last week and the week before. Anytime you see the suffix ed, that is a suffix that means past tense. Anytime that's on the end of a word, that means that that word is being talked about in the past. Okay? Now, inside this word is a possible second prefix, which is ter. Okay? So it's kind of an interesting, or inter. Okay? So this is a possible second prefix, which means between something. Okay, so now we have a second prefix that could be in this word. So we have to consider that when we are trying to break this word apart. But if we thought about the word interpret, it's a verb. Okay, and interpret means to expound the meaning of, or render clear or explicit. Well, so if you're thinking you're going to misinterpret something, you're going to make sure that it's clear, the meaning of something is clear, but you misinterpret, then that must mean that you wrongly made the meaning clear because you put the prefix mis in front of it. So that would be something you could think about. So, essentially then, misinterpreted, because of the suffix being ed on the end, is the past tense of incorrectly translating or wrongly understanding something. Because of that ed, it is past tense. Here's another example to take apart. Interjection. This is the word interjection, an interjected or exclamatory word. So here you have the prefix inter, and remember we just learned that meant between, and we have the suffix tion on the end of this one, which whenever you see that suffix, it means the process of something. So interjection is an interjected or exclamatory word. All right, so essentially interjection is the process of throwing or setting between. When we use interjections in grammar, where do we use them? And here's one more, transcontinental. This word means passing or crossing a continent. The prefix in this case, trans, means across. The suffix ol means having characteristics of something. And of course, the base word is continent. So now we can think about how trans means across the continent and having the characteristic of being able to go across the continent. So essentially, transcontinental is having characteristics of going across the continent. So you can see how you can take all these parts, put them together, and find out the definition of an unknown word. It helps to know the prefix and the suffix along with what your base word is. That's why it's really important to know how to break these words apart. Here's an interesting fact. Do you know when the Transcontinental Railroad was completed and passengers were able to travel across the United States for the first time? Maybe look that up, see if you can find out the answer.